of course, here for a majority is 61. Let's bring in Amotz Asa-El. He's a fellow at the Shalom Hartman Institute here in Jerusalem. Some will say this was or is a Houdini-like escape from the claws of defeat for Bibi Netanyahu. If this was a referendum on the man himself, how did he pull it off?
Well, the first thing to understand is that Netanyahu's electorate feels that he's been successful on almost any plane. First of all, militarily, they feel, all Israelis feel more secure today than they felt last decade. Then economically, unemployment is almost a negligible 4%. Inflation is just about 0%. Israel's national debt is among the lowest in the world. Israel's growth rates are among the world's fastest.
Was this Becky. Fought? Go on.
Among the fastest this century. The shekel is among the world's strongest currencies. So economically, things are also happy. Diplomatically, people feel in Israel, certainly Netanyahu's voters, that he commands today a kind of sway no previous Israeli leader ever commanded. That's why they're happy. Then there is the legal situation. They don't buy. Then don't buy the allegations that he faces. Rightly or wrongly, this is what we learned yesterday.
But we know that he was in the political fight of his life. So given everything you've just said, how did it get to that point?
Evidently, he arrived at this showdown fueled. He displayed a kind of bellicosity that few people realized he actually possessed, and many voters appreciated that in itself.
What happens next?
I think that, first of all, his government is almost fully assembled already now as we're talking. It will be formally such within 2 or so weeks. Then we will learn that Israel in this election has restored its two-party system, which splintered already towards the end of last century under other circumstances. I say it's been restored because both of these figures, Netanyahu's 35 seats and Gantz's 35 seats, means that between them they command a combined 55 or so % of the parliament.
Which you might suggest should mean a national unity government going forward. This is the first time that two parties have had that many seats in
only in this century,
since 1992.
Right. Setting aside the fact that Gantz's specific party is new, but you're right.
Chance of a national
that the government and the main opposition party combined have such a following is indeed new for this century, and indeed raises the prospect of a unity government down the road. But that can only happen if and after Netanyahu is indicted, not before it. So until then, you'll have a compact, solid, and very obedient conservative coalition of the sort that Netanyahu commanded until now, only one within which he will be even more powerful than he previously was.
Which means what for the Palestinians?
It means, before we take the Palestinians, for the Israelis, it means that Netanyahu this time around will not give to any coalition partners key ministries, namely defense, foreign affairs, treasury, education. All these he will clutch in his bosom. And parenthetically, by the way, we can say that he feels so secure now that he is expected to appoint for the first time in Israel's history a gay minister in his cabinet that will sit in one cabinet with the ultra-Orthodox rabbis. That's interesting but anecdotal. Palestinians-wise, as you're asking, I don't think we can expect any change anytime soon, certainly not as long as the Palestinians are led by Mahmoud Abbas on the one hand, who has created such a rivalry with Netanyahu, and at the same time with them being as split as they are between the West Bank's pragmatists and Gaza's fundamentalists.
Further creep, finally, then, of Israeli sovereignty across areas that the Palestinians would otherwise want as their own?
I don't think Netanyahu is going to deliver on this promise of his anytime soon, certainly not before his legal situation matures. If somehow he emerges, as he says he will, from this legal situation unscathed and unindicted, then maybe he will feel so confident that he will also move ahead on this front. I don't think we can see anything like that before then.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Fascinating
Becky.
Insights from myself with Amotz in the house here to Max, who's outside the Houses of Parliament. Max, from the would-be Prime Minister in Israel to the can-she, can't-she Prime Minister with you, right?
Yeah. people calling out behind us, Brexit, what's it all about? We're trying to work it out. We'll get there eventually. We're not going to leave on Friday. We don't think there will be a delay, but we don't know for how long. We're going to get more on that throughout the day. But we also want to take people to the US, where the Attorney General is setting the stage for a showdown with House Democrats over the release of the entire Mueller report.